Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. We are back at the spot, the place where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. And today, Brains, is no different than any other day on the edge. Only thing is, our guest is Vicky Knee. She is from Newfoundland, Canada. And we're going to talk to her about mindset, coaching, helping people advance to the next level. What is her secret sauce to success? What is it that we need to incorporate, edit, filter, or adjust in our own lives to make us better human beings? We're going to talk about some of our first jobs that we had. I mean, she was in the service industry and I was in retail, but how valuable that is, customer service. You've got to be able to service your customer at their expectation, not at ours. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Welcome to On the Edge, Vicky Knee.
Thank you for having me, April.
Absolutely.
Here.
It's good. It's good to have you. So what in the world is going on in Newfoundland, Canada? Now,
Newfoundland?
Canada was it was, how do you say it, Newfoundland? What do you say?
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Yeah, Newfoundland. Yeah, that's the way I say it anyway.
Okay. Now, where is that at? Give me a pinpoint.
We are in the Atlantic Ocean on the east edge of North America. So we're that little triangular island just off the coast of the mainland.
And what do you do there?
Well, enjoy nature.
Mm.
This is a beautiful island. I'm going to do a little bit of a PSA here for anybody looking for someplace to go. We've had a lot of celebrities come here. As a matter of fact, Tom Petty bought an island.
Really?
I don't know if he ever lived there, but it was all
come to visit.
We were all excited.
So tell us a little bit about, you and how you show up in the world, Miss Vicky.
Well, basically, I've always showed up just as who I am. I have a hard time with putting the other persona on. So what you see is what you get with me. And that has been a blessing and sometimes a little bit of a curse.
Right.
Times where it's bit me in the butt, but it's always turned out to my benefit and to other people's benefit, to attract people that like the authentic me.
Well, like I tell people all the time, it's one thing to show up authentic, really who you are, but sometimes you have to mask that because everybody's not ready for that. Everybody's not ready for it. And so when you have to edit and shift that persona, when you don't show up as your authentic self, what are some of your characteristics that change? Maybe your body language, your voice tone, your messaging. What changes about you?
Typically, I just shut up more. I find that I'm editing my message and my, I don't do it often because I'm really not that good at keeping my thoughts to myself.
Mm-hmm. I had to work with a coach girl. I was in corporate America, and I sure would sit at that board meeting and be like, what the hell are they talking about? And I couldn't do that, because I was dealing with some real heavy hitters and some power players. So I had to work with a coach to really learn to mask your identity. But when you mask your identity, you're suppressing yourself, but also it can be very strategic because you can't always let people know what you're thinking.
That's so true. I mean, there's nothing wrong in learning how to shut up, right? And I'm not going to lie to people, but I don't have to spill everything that I'm thinking all over them. And that is a valuable lesson to learn, and not just for coaches, but for people who want to maintain healthy relationships with other people, because it doesn't mean that you don't know your boundaries. It doesn't mean that you don't understand who you are and what you stand for. It only means you give the other person some space to explore what they're thinking and what they want. I
But
will.
also being a good listener too, like you say, it's because there's something I could learn. Just because we're not on the same page, that doesn't mean we're not in the same book.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I've surprised myself actually as to how many times I've sort of went, gosh darn, that actually is a good point. When reading something that I'm totally opposite on the opposite side of. But you know what? I guess coaching is just, let's go back. You wanted to talk a little bit about what I did when I first got into the work industry. And
Yeah,
that was,
well, I mean, no, we can go back and forth. This is a great candid conversation. We don't have to go in, it doesn't have to be linear. Wherever we get in is where we fit in. But I want to talk about where you came from. But if that has something to do with, what your subject is, absolutely go with it.
okay, thank you. Yes, I spent a number of years at my younger years waitressing and bartending. And that taught me a couple of important things. One of them was patience and being just generally nice to people. I learned very early on that if I was not thinking about my tip at the end and just wanting to serve them and make sure that they had a wonderful evening, I would always be rewarded. I mean, if not monetarily, then with gratitude, with compliments, with just warm feelings. There was always a benefit and reward at with that behavior. And it also showed me that we are more alike than we are different.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So learning to keep the judgment and oh my God, I need to make this much money in tips tonight. Learning to keep that out of the equation was not easy when you're young and you're broke, right?
But when you're old and you broke, it's not easy.
but what it did teach me was to have faith, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I could tell you so many stories about that, but we don't have the time for that here. But it just to know that most of the time people have good intentions. And so if I go into my coaching discussion thinking that they're broken and thinking that they don't know what they're thinking, I'm going to apply my own bias. I'm not going to hear what they're saying. So learning to just sort of sit back and find out what it is that April is actually thinking, really thinking. What's really bothering you? What are your fears about, where do they stem from with whatever it is that you're debating?
But it also teaches you discipline and resilience, because
you have to have that, right?
Well, you have to, but a lot of people don't have discipline. They don't have self-discipline. They don't have self-worth. And then the ability to bounce back after rejection, after failure, after trials or tribulations. That is what I look at when it comes to mindset. It's funny. I had a sweet little girl that was on my show, and she was talking about mindset. My mind is set at 59. Her mind is set at 25. But again, it's a new day. It's a new era. It's like the pronouns. Now I'm going to be doing a show on that. Him, his, her, they, we. I was wondering really what the significance of all that is, but I have to shift my mind because that is a conversation that people are wanting around respect. It's not any particular, gender or gender. But it is about respect. And so you have to get on board. You got to get in line or you're going to get left behind. So what do you encourage some of your people to do, some of the techniques when assessing their mindset? Because firstly, they have to know what it is, where they are, and then they move to what they want to change, and then you come in and help them make that shift.
I help them through the whole journey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't come in at the end. I come in right at the beginning in most cases. So sometimes people will come to me and they don't realize that it is actually their self-image or their mindset, because self-image and mindset work very closely together, although they're not the same thing. So self-image might be if somebody believes that they're simply not worthy, like their time is less valuable than your time. They're always feeling pressured to make others happy. That's not mindset so much as self-worth, self-image. So what makes me so much better than you if you've got that mindset? So I do tend to challenge them. We have a conversation around that, and then when that switches, they can move forward and proceed with adopting new exercises and mindsets. So mindset is more something like, oh, why would I want to do that? Right? That's never going to work for me. I'm never going to be able to pull that off. That's not so much self-image, although you'd think it would be. It's more mindset. It's saying, or I don't really want that. When they really do, they just don't want to express their desire, because then it's like making themselves vulnerable, or showing that, if they fail to get it, they're not a winner, they're a loser.
Well, sometimes it's a blessing when you don't get everything. My mother told me one day, she says, just imagine, Cupcake. She called me Cupcake. She said, just imagine if you got every single thing you wanted in life. I would be a hot mess, Vicky. So again, some things, you dodge a bullet and it's really worth it. What got you into this work of mindset and coaching?
Well, I started off coaching as a business coach, right? Because I've been self-employed since about 1986. I've had a couple of jobs in that time frame, but mostly I've worked for myself, and doing all sorts of different things. So I ended up as a bookkeeper. Right here in Newfoundland, when we moved here, I ended up getting a job in an accounting office as a bookkeeper. And I always found that fairly interesting. I don't know, I like puzzles. I like challenges, and I like, seeing how everything fits together. And bookkeeping is one of those things where you can actually kind of see the fiscal health of an organization just with a few set of numbers, if you know where to look and what to look for. And also with my business background, and I don't have a lot of formal education. I've just got a lot of, school of life type, in.
That's right. Well, you know what? You can have as many degrees as a thermometer, honey, and not know what temperature it is. So that doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't really get impressed with all the alphabet soup behind or in front of people's names. I know
yeah.
some people that's graduated and can't balance their checkbook. So
So because of my history, I thought, I would really be a good fit for business coaching, and where that would be where my passion was, because I love working with small business owners. And I'm not working with the, executive of Apple. I work with small business people who have a desire to have their own business, to grow their own business, to create some sort of a small legacy for their own family. And it could be big, it could end up being quite big, but mostly just with people like me. And because of my varied experience in varied industries, businesses, I felt like I had a lot to offer. And this worked really well initially. And then I found that my own mind, my own heart led me to life coaching and to the mindset, and I took cognitive behavioral therapy courses. that help me with the limiting beliefs. And, one foot follows the other through this journey. And so now I've got a very unstructured one-on-one coaching practice that I absolutely love.
When you say unstructured, you mean non-traditional? What do you mean
I
unstructured?
mean, it's not a classic course type coaching program. It's like when I meet with a client, I have a conversation with them, and they get all of me. Right? They get every little bit of me that is sitting there. So I'm not, if what you need is mostly some business coaching and some, help in strategy, marketing, things like that, I designed sort of a curriculum for you.
Okay, so it's a customized program
Very
based
customized.
upon, right, okay.
Because
So
I'm
it's not a
small.
group thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We
just
don't
me.
like the word small on the edge. We use petite. We say,
Petite.
yes, petite, intimate, because small is what people's mindset is. They're still thinking small. They forget that there's 2.4 billion people, maybe more than that, on the planet. They forget that every day you have an opportunity to start something new. They forget that with risk, there is reward. They forget that with every action, that there is a reaction. And they forget that we live in a space of abundance. There's plenty of room for everybody if you scoot your fat butt over.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a wonderful thing to be able to share mine, whatever it is that I have to offer for people,
Absolutely.
share with them. And sometimes we have a connection and sometimes we don't, but then, that's not always going to happen. And I don't sweat it. I've made a new friend.
I do, and you know what? Sometimes you don't meet a friend because I'm not like that. I don't just go along to get along. Y'all know that on the edge
Yeah,
about me.
yeah.
I don't mess with people. I don't bother you. I don't harass you. But if I'm not feeling you, I'm not feeling you. And
Mhm.
people have a right, and that's what's going on in the world. They're so combative. They always want you to go along with what they say, or if you don't go along, then you're at contrast. Well, you know what? That's why we have black. That's why we have white. There's a contrast. That's just how life is. Finding that gray is what is important in the world. So let's play a quick little game with you, Miss Vicky. Let's ask you some random questions and just
Okay.
see what pops up in your head.
Oh
Okay?
God, no.
What would you tell a 25-year-old Vicky Knee?
Take notes.
That's cute.
You want to be able to remember it.
What's your favorite color?
Oh gosh, I love bright colors. I love pastels. I probably um aqua.
Aqua? So you're in the blues, the tranquil, the peaceful.
I tend to be drawn to the shades like the gem shades and but the also the softer earthy shades.
Okay,
Like
that's good.
that's
What
there.
is
How's that
your
for a non-answer?
what is your spirit animal?
I've never actually consulted with a shaman to find my spirit animal, but I've always felt like I had an affinity to wolf,
Mhm.
and that's a totally different thing, right?
No, I mean, but why do you feel drawn to a wolf? Is it
Oh,
because of
because my
their
Christian name is Vukasava, and a Vuk in Serbian is wolf.
oh, okay.
And also I'm an Aries, and the ancient animal symbolizing Aries was not the ram, but it was the wolf.
Hmm. What are three things that you absolutely cannot live without?
Wow, that's a hell of a question. Well, my family, my coffee, and today, probably the internet. sad to say.
No, that's a way of connecting, and you want to
That's
stay
the way of
connected.
connecting. Now I have a worldwide family connection, family and friend connection, and it's really amazing how close I feel to so many people that I've never actually met in person.
What brings you joy?
My cats, my husband, my geraniums. I'm a total crazy nut over geraniums. Um, the smell of grass cut, watermelon.
Oh, I made a watermelon salad, girl. I'll give you the recipe when we get offline. It was delish.
Nuts about it.
So, what do you want to leave behind as your legacy? How do you want to be remembered?
I want to leave behind I want people to have positive memories around their association with me. You know, to think, you know, gosh, you know, that Vicky, she was fun. She had a crazy sense of humor, and she made me feel good to be with her.
That's good. That's really good. What's your favorite drink?
Ooh, well, probably
You're a
coffee.
bartender, yeah. So you're a bartender. What is it?
Yeah, I know. How
Is
long
it
can a
7 Up or what?
actually my drinking days are pretty much well past me. I do enjoy a glass of wine. I was on holidays just this last month in Serbia and had beer every day.
Mm.
You can imagine. I never have beer here.
So take us back to your life in Serbia. Tell us some,
Oh, I was 3 when we came to Canada, so I really didn't have a life in Serbia. But life in Serbia in general
mhm.
is very well. My knowledge of Serbia only encompasses a little town called Obrenovac, and it's a beautiful little town. It's it's amazing how many relatives I actually have there. And as an only child in Canada without any Serbian family around me, that is a very strange feeling, right?
It is,
It's
but there's a lot going on in there. Serbia's in the news a lot, and there's a lot of challenges there.
but there
There's a lot.
have been challenges for years and years, and not wanting to get into the political ramifications of what's happening there. It's a beautiful country with places to go. There's a lot of actual green space there. It's the cities have got, like, I walked every day, and I walked every day because there were so many people around me walking.
Mhm.
There was things happening, at the restaurants, at the outdoor, like it was just filled with life. Here in Grand Falls, Windsor, where I'm living now, I I told myself I was going to walk every day when I got back, and I haven't yet once.
Mhm. Mhm.
And mostly because
Well,
everything.
there's a culture, there's a sense of community, and that is what they're trying to sustain there. No matter what the political ramifications are, that's everywhere you go. There's going to be politricks, is what I call it. Not politics, but politricks. But when you are subjected to bombings and you're subjected to, you
Oh,
know, degradation of women and children, and not being able to go to school, and these are war-torn countries, brains, that we have no idea here in the United
no,
States what this looks like.
certainly not like that. It was bombed by NATO actually in the late 90s under the Clinton administration, which and that was all over Kosovo. But now, I mean, people are still holding that and saying, like, why are we being, Serbia was an ally to the Western world for each world war. And they're voracious as far as, national pride and who they are. So I think a little bit of that is in my spirit, because it's I have to look, where did I get the tenacity, right, to keep going and to keep moving forward? Well, I think I got a lot of it from my mom and dad, through my environment for the nurture part, but I also got a lot of it from my genetic environment, my background, my ancestry. And when people, I never believed that until the first time I went back in 76. As soon as I got off the plane and was with my family, I went, holy smokes, I'm here. I'm home. It felt familiar before it even was familiar, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Because you have, you feel like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. You clicked your heels 3 times and you appeared home. Well, you are doing some amazing work in the world, Vicky Knee, and I'm so glad I've had you here on the edge. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you. Because you know what? You're a different kind of coach. I can feel that. You're not the coach that comes in and has this, this list of, things I need to, okay, well, let me check off this box, this box, this box. You are really there to customize your program for individual needs. You come from a grassroots perspective,
And I understand the struggle of people trying to create success in their life with very few resources.
Absolutely. And there's that person out there that thinks that, hey, let me start my own business. But sometimes, Brains, you'll work with a coach and a coach will encourage you to go back and be a W-2 employee, because this entrepreneurial stuff is not for everybody.
That's right. And that's the beauty of the coaching, the clarity that I can help people get to is it prevents them from making mistakes that they're going to regret for a long time. It saves them money by not, I'm not saying I'm a negative Nelly, right? I'm not going to talk people out of everything they want to do. I'm going to encourage people to do whatever it is that their dream is. But, I don't want to see you on Shark's Tank, pitching something that is insanely bad, like, oh, I've got a very special pink tone highlighter that I want to now make a whole business around. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You bring in the real aspect of it, and that's because of the other modalities. It's that talking to yourself. Brains, you got to have that conversation with yourself before you have the conversation with Vicky. You've got to have some sort of idea of what you want. I talk to people sometimes and they say, I don't know what I want. I say, okay, well then call me back when you get it together, because I'm not going to be the one to tell you what you want. You've got to figure that out. You've got to do some self-exploration. You've got to have a different kind of vernacular.
Absolutely. I've got a PDF of a book on goal setting that might be helpful to your audience. And so if you are okay with it, I'll send you the link so that you can add it to the
show notes. Absolutely. Tell the Brains, please, how to get in contact with you so that they can reach out and embrace you.
Absolutely. Now you can email me at vicky@vickyknee.com. So that's VICKY, just like it is in my name here, VICKY@VICKYKNEE.com. And VickyKnee.com is also my website.
Well, there is a lot of information there. There's a lot of good. Thank you so much for being
here. And there's ways of getting a hold of me once you're there, or you can follow my, Facebook page. Trust me, you'll find me.
We'll find her, and she's worth finding. If nothing else, Brains, I always encourage you to reach out to my guests. They offer you, 10, 15 minutes of their time to explore. You don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely. And even if you just have one teeny little niggly issue that that has been following you over time, we can talk that out very quickly. And then you can decide if, oh, well, maybe I want to carry this conversation on further with some coaching.
Well, good. So, Brains, we want you to love, like, share, and subscribe. Please sign up for, one, if not all of them. The YouTube channel, the Blog Talk Radio, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitter, so we can find you, we can follow you, and we can continue to give you all of the good stuff that you need. And that's one of them right there, Vicky Knee. Thank you so much, Precious. I appreciate and value you. Come back and visit me again on the edge and keep me updated, okay?
April, I love it. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye, Brains. Have a good day.